So there are times in life when we do things that are so humiliating or wonderful or memorable, you can remember them. I can smell things. When I was a kid, 8 years old, I went to Mount Rainier. My family went to Mount Rainier. My sister and I drove bikes up in Paradise. It's a part in Mount Rainier. The memories are so strong for me. I kid you not. That about twice a year I smell like a campfire, and it takes me 50 years back to being with my sister on a bike. That's how much fun I had. This happens in sports. It happens in life. You're humiliated in high school. You could have been humiliated last week. It just stuff sticks. You can't unsee it. You can't unsmell it. You can't unexperience it. I've seen this in sports. Miracle on ice. The greatest, most dramatic sports moment in American history. We beat the Russians in hockey. I remember exactly where it was. The carpet was green. The door was brown. The glass I had orange soda in it. I can remember every color from the moment. It was such a powerful moment. And when I watched the Kansas City Chiefs, sometimes I think they were so powerful. They were so unique. They're the only team in my life where they fell behind 24-0 in a playoff game, and I sat on the couch thinking, that's okay. They just gotta kind of get buttoned up here. No way. And they did. They scored like 45 straight points. They were doing plays I'd never seen. Mahomes was throwing the ball sideways, left-handed. It was so powerful.
She said, Tony, I cannot help you.
You can't unsee it. And everybody now isn't acknowledging.
That said that. Because Brenda was the only phone number that I knew. I was like,
Kansas City's an average offense.
Keep on one for me. She said,
Folks,
Tony,
even Vegas hasn't adjusted yet. In the last 20
Was
games,
the
Chiefs are 5-15 against the spread.
Yeah,
the market hasn't adjusted. Conversely, Dallas has been so average for 2 decades.
And then
the market hasn't adjusted to how good the Cowboys are.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
The Cowboys will move the Chiefs. Doors off. Tomorrow.
Because Brenda always been like,
Dallas is 7-0
person,
against the spread.
we
don't realize how good Dallas
loving
is
and
because of all
husband,
the
like,
memories
you
of how average
always
they've
call
been
me
and
if you need
overrated for
something,
20 years, and we don't understand what we're
no
watching with
matter
Kansas City
what.
right now. They're average.
She got mine.
Their offense. They have no running game.
Okay.
Their offensive line is not gelling. Right now it's below average in the NFL.
I got
Mahomes is missing. His mechanics are bad. He's missing on throws. Should have had another ball picked off last night. Travis Kelce's disappeared. What do they do?
I'm like, oh.
But they were so spectacular and so clever and so unique, and they did plays now that everybody's copying these old shovel passes.
Tony don't want to
They
call
didn't see
me,
those 10 years ago. They didn't see those 5 years ago.
I don't know what it was in
I
the
mean,
car.
Kansas City is incredibly lucky to just be in the AFC.
She told me about it.
Look at the top of the NFC right now. If they were an NFC team, they would be a second-tier team.
Yeah, she was like, Tony don't
I mean,
wear.
the
I'm like, when you
roster
gonna
of
come over
Dallas,
here
of Tampa, of Green
I was
Bay,
waiting on
of
you to come get the
Arizona,
car.
of the
Because I was
Rams,
confused. So I'm like, when are you
stars,
gonna come get the
having
car?
great
She's like, I don't know
years,
if you
both
don't
sides
answer
of the ball
the phone.
performing.
Or
Kansas
call
City's
nobody.
offense isn't even
Something, this
performing.
and that.
And if you look at their schedule, I mean, Dallas
I'm
with
just like,
Cooper Rush on
damn.
the road
That nigga said,
was more impressive than Kansas City at home against the New York Giants last night. I mean, here's another little factoid that we have to be honest about. Kansas City does not have a win against the winning team this year.
She told me every day.
I know, like her and
And by the way,
Every day. She
3 of their 4 wins
Essence.
come against the weakest division, the NFC East.
Uh-uh.
And if you look at their schedule, it is now the toughest remaining schedule in the
she was
NFL.
going crazy, like,
Green Bay, at
she
the
was going
Raiders,
crazy,
Dallas,
like, she was
Raiders, at the Chargers, Pittsburgh,
Man, I
at
thought I had
Cincinnati.
that shit.
Brutal. They're not
I
going to
was
be a playoff
upset
team.
too. Well,
There's a strong likelihood they're not going to be a
can't
playoff
even
team. They were so
breathe.
spectacular,
like,
and so
she's telling
vivid, and so
she's
animated,
telling me
and
get
so
on
fun, and
my
so
asthma
spectacular.
medication. Like, I was giving it. I'm like, here, take this. I'm
Coming
asking,
from
I'm
behind,
asking her,
literally
you
in all
need
their playoff
cream.
games.
I'm just,
The year they
I'm
won the
trying to
Super
get
Bowl.
all that medicine.
The market is not
Like,
adjusting
you
to what's
need
really
cream for it.
happening. I've said this, Michigan football, my entire childhood,
Wait, what was
Michigan
you sick
football was
with?
great. They had the big
The
house.
flu or something?
They were in the biggest rivalry. They had the best fight song. They had the coolest uniforms. They were on TV every week. Michigan hasn't been elite in 20 years. They're not as good as Michigan State.
It probably was.
They're not
You
even
still smell
the
cake?
best football program.
Yeah.
But I can't, when I look at Michigan, I just think
One of
big
those
house, band, victors,
asymptomatic
uniform, Michigan, great. What are they
Shut
today?
up.
The 15th best
get the
program in the country in the last 15 years? They can't beat Michigan State.
I think I had
They
a,
don't even
I think I had like
compete
a
against
small
Ohio
case
State. They're
of
2 and 12
COVID.
against top
Because it
teams.
didn't last that long.
When memories are strong and experiences
COVID, like,
are strong,
September 22nd.
it's hard to unsee stuff.
I forgot when
And
it ended.
I will say, they won.
But
talked about that after the game, and he's right. Now, they have the talent. Maybe the offensive line starts to gel.
I'm surprised I didn't
pick
get
up
to
a
you.
couple
I'm
of
glad I did
impressive
it.
wins. We're not canceling
I think we smoked like
the team.
the
We don't think they'll never be good again. But right now, in this moment, they're not even the best. 4-14. I mean, New England
I think it was
right now is doing multiple things well. Like the defense, their special teams, their run game, their pass protection. Kansas City's not doing almost anything well. Travis Kelce's the best tight end in football.
Yeah.
Where is he?
So we just went car smoking.
But it's okay. They'll get it right.
I think that was the last day.
But the powerful memories of this
and I was
wizardry on offense, it's hard to see them objectively.
I was.
All right, let's shift to
where I was eating?
I said this last year.
I burnt the
when you live in Los Angeles,
like
and
the
Joy and I, because of our business, you end up knowing people through your agent, through this,
you would think
that.
It was nasty, but
everybody knows somebody famous in Los Angeles, right? Like everybody knows somebody, right? You know, somebody that's an actor, somebody. I was talking to a friend last night. He was like, I was in a restaurant and Pep showed up, and I'm like, that happened in Cincinnati, right? And so I said this last year that I just happen to know somebody who I admire a lot, who's a big deal in town, who's friends with OBJ.
I had no
and he said OBJ's been a really good guy in Cleveland. He's been a team player. He's not into Cleveland. He's not into Baker. It's not
Take
working.
this cough medicine.
But you know,
Don't
I'm
come
not
up
going
to
to blow it up,
room.
but it was a thing I talked about it briefly last year.
Lights on, everything down, like.
So it's very interesting. So the trade deadline's today. Odell Beckham Sr., his dad, posted a video putting blame on Baker Mayfield. But what does that mean? Why did his dad do it the day before the trading deadline? His son wants out. OBJ wants out. Cleveland has said, we don't want to trade OBJ. OBJ wants out. So his dad is starting this. And to double down on this, LeBron James and LeBron and his guys are tight with OBJ. LeBron James said this morning, OBJ will show again why he's special. Wide receiver one, free OBJ. So both his dad and his most powerful friend LeBron, on the day of the trading deadline and on the eve of the trading deadline, are trying to create a situation where OBJ can get out and revive his career. OBJ wants out. He wanted out last year.
But they
he wants out. He goes to his friend LeBron with power in Cleveland. He goes to his dad. This is not a coincidence. He wants out. I was told he wanted out last year. The previous GM, John Dorsey, brought him to Cleveland. It never fit. He doesn't fit Baker. He doesn't fit Cleveland. He doesn't fit Stefanski's offense. I'm not blaming anybody here. This is not me blaming Baker, but Baker Mayfield, when targeting OBJ this year, has a 50% completion rate, lowest of any receiver. He has a 72 passer rating when targeting OBJ. The lowest of any Browns receiver. It doesn't work. And what's funny about it, I always think it's so hacky when people talk about hot takes, like you're a hack if you have to bring it up. Because it used to be a hot take when people like me said OBJ doesn't work in Cleveland and Baker's better without it. Remember that was a hot take? No, it's actually called data. Do your homework. They are better without OBJ. He doesn't want to be there. Bill Belichick has been saying it for years. Belichick's famous quote is, this sport's not about collecting talent, it's about building a team. And some players fit better into one system or style or play than they do another. OBJ doesn't work with Baker. He doesn't work in Cleveland. He doesn't work with Stefanski. It's not a hot take. It's data. It's there. By the way, this isn't even the first year it doesn't work. This has been going on for 2 years. And I'm not blaming Baker at all. I just don't think they work. Baker is a young quarterback. Stefanski's a young coach. There is this sense that you got to get the ball to this superstar player, at least he was a couple years ago. I thought it was a terrible move by Dorsey. I never liked it. Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry is underrated. Jarvis Landry is underappreciated. He's exactly what you give Baker Mayfield. You give a young, when you have a young quarterback, you give him hungry receivers with a lot to prove. OBJ was a star. He didn't have anything to prove. He wanted to went to the New York Giants. This blue blood franchise was Super Bowls to losing his franchise outside of Detroit in the last 25 years. But it's terrible fit. It's not a hot take. It doesn't work. This idea that you
I ain't scored 60 points
the
yet.
best players. That's all it's about. Just get the best players and you win all the games.
Yeah, I
When has New England in the last 20 years had the best
and I
roster?
smelled. I'm like, y'all,
Let's
this.
start with never.
You smoke out this. This not a toy.
It's not
No,
about having the
Ivy.
best players. It's having
No,
6 or
no,
7
you
really
like
high-end
little
players
monkeys
mixed in
and
different
yeah.
units, so every unit has
Whatever
somebody
you
who
want
can
it.
make great plays,
Whatever.
and then having a really good coach, a really good system, a really smart quarterback. It doesn't work. It's not a hot take, but what you're seeing this morning is LeBron and his guys are tight with OBJ. They have gone to social media. Let him go. And his dad has gone to social media blaming Baker Mayfield. That, you would think, would propel him out of town. Now, Cleveland this morning said we're not moving him.
You know this little piece right here bothering me.
Move him. OBJ, in my opinion, would rather get cut. He wants to get cut so he can reboot his career. I don't blame him. I've said this before and I'll say it again.
But I'm not gonna.
This is where I'll defend players to the end.
Yep. I tried to fix it, but I'm like, yeah.
This is why mobility is important. OBJ,
right,
he may have 1 or 2 prime years left athletically. If it's not working, let him go. This is why I defend Kevin.
Why haven't you been playing with your
Durant when he left Westbrook and went to Steph Curry? Yeah, because Steph Curry's way better than Westbrook. I would choose Steph Curry over Westbrook. Now, I wouldn't choose Kyrie and KD's moves. And I will defend OBJ here.
For real, everybody love him. They hired him.
He's been a good soldier. He hasn't been disruptive. I mean, you never hear a peep from him.
Everybody got like
Seriously,
they
he's the biggest star in
second and
Cleveland.
third
You never hear him.
He was in PlayStation.
He's been a good guy about this. It doesn't work. He's told his friends privately, get me out of here. Now his friends are kind of coming to the rescue. But he really has been. You may not like his production. He has never been difficult here. And Baker is at his day. OBJ has never been difficult. And I've been critical of him. But at this point, let him go. Let him reboot his career. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.
He'll be on. He'll be doing alright.
Nah, he wouldn't do that around us.
I don't be seeing that.
I wouldn't say he's scared out there, maybe. I don't know.
I said it. Scott, I've been watching the show. Scott, I know you watch the show.
Shit, I be yelling at fucking Ali in front of her baby daddy. I don't be giving a fuck. Her mama too. I don't give a shit. Don't start no stupid shit with me. She got the wrong game right one. What is that?
Kappa Alpha, me and my gang, we do all the stepping. Who you checking? It's FN, shoot East or West End.
Bro. I didn't know his boy This boy just told me. This boy just told me he liked me or whatever. This and that and this and that.
Oh, you on the phone?
No, I'm telling you this.
Oh my God.
I muted him.
Atlanta has been running the rap game.
I don't even know how this started. I don't even know
Because listen, I love teddy bears and things like this, and he got this I don't know, you know what? I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't know what animal it is. But it used to be on cartoons and stuff. I forgot what it is. Boomerang. You know that boomerang dog thing? He got that. And I was like, you should let me have it. It was like, you know, since he liked me, he gonna let me have it. But I don't want it to be like that. Like, I just really think him and my friend kind of.
Now, for some, this might seem a little silly, but there are actually multiple
You gotta let him know.
gamers who have not.
No, I don't.
So we're gonna get ready for the re-release.
No, I
We've got
don't.
the new trailer and old footage, but I want to make it clear we're not going
He
to
gonna let me
spoil
have
anything
it.
from the original game. So let's get started off with number 10.
But I don't know how I'm gonna get
The story
it.
is a huge upgrade from Grand Theft Auto 3. You play as Tommy
Stop,
Vercetti,
bitch.
voiced by Ray Liotta, who is sent down to Vice City from his
I really don't know how to
Liberty
get
City,
it,
the main location
because
from GTA 3. By
he
his
can't
boss,
drop it off
Sonny
over
Borrelli,
here.
to stake a claim to the booming drug trade.
And who was
going
gonna
on
take
in
me to
the
go
city.
pick it up?
It's heavily influenced
influenced by the movie Scarface, and you can see 80s
Probably
influences
some
pretty
Blue
much everywhere.
Springs
The
niggas.
setting combined
No,
with
he
the
was
era
in
that game
Raytown.
takes place really goes a long way in
He got to
creating
the
a unique
whatever
atmosphere.
alternative
And
school
even though the game
Raytown
is
got,
pretty
whatever.
you really don't need to play that game to know what's going on here. Other than a few references here and there, it's a completely
Need a
separate
nerd.
story. So
Somebody
there's
that's
no
gonna
real
work.
issue with starting here if that's what you want to do. This is the game
You don't
where
need all
parody
these
elements
nobodies.
really started to show themselves in
Ooh,
Grand
give me
Theft Auto. I
What's
mean,
up
you
this
can
ass
see
here?
them in 3, but not on the level of this. Like, you see 80s action movie parodies,
Gotta get
billboards
you a
that make
nerd,
fun of
I don't know
man.
what you be talking about.
politics,
People just be calling me out of
policy
nowhere.
of the time.
And I just
You got
answer
tons
the
of
phone, you know?
businesses with joke names,
Gotta get
clearly
you a
meant
nerd,
to
man.
sound dirty.
A
The
nerd?
game has a real
Gotta get you a
story,
nerd.
and
Who says I
it's
don't
not
have
just
nerds?
goofy nonsense,
Gotta get
but
you a nerd.
there is a lot of humor.
Well,
They
take
not gonna talk to you because they don't know how to talk to
Now,
you.
one of the biggest things that makes Vice City
It
stand
don't
out
matter.
is its
But they
music.
gonna have the
This has
coolest
pretty
shit
much
to
been a
talk about.
tradition since
Swear
Vice
to
City.
God.
Not that I
Nerds be
dislike
talking about the
Grand Theft
coolest
Auto
shit.
3's
Niggas
soundtrack.
can't talk
It's
about
unique
nothing
and
but
interesting
I got
for
this
some
gun, I got
reasons.
that gun,
But
I'll pop
here's
this
where
break,
we
I
got
did
some
that,
of the best
I did this,
music from
I
the
did that.
80s.
I'm
I
talking
jumped on
about
my
like,
cousin.
I'm
Selections
talking
out
about
there
like,
for people who
no,
love
I
80s
didn't
music.
I did
And
talk to
as
somebody
of
that
right
did person,
now,
but I didn't know
we
he
don't
did
know
person
for
too. He
sure
did Brandy.
how
I'm like,
the soundtrack's
ew.
gonna
No, I think it was a
Rockstar
Zen.
has
What's the
been known to
difference?
cut songs from new
A what?
releases and
A
classic
Zen?
games
A
because
Zen?
of music
It's gonna
rights
put you to
issues.
sleep.
But either way, the soundtrack should
And then when
probably
you
still remain
when you
excellent,
get up,
even
you
if it's
super
got a few
hella
songs
aggressive.
we just don't know
Hella
yet.
aggressive.
Keeping in mind that Grand Theft Auto has
Yeah, you
more
can say that
cash
to
on
me
him
later.
now than ever, and this is a very hyped
I used to
release.
fight
It
with
may
him
not
off
go
that
that way, but this stuff was nostalgic back when the game first
just
came
was
out,
talking
so
about
it's
that.
basically ancient. It's a lot of awesome, memorable
Yeah.
music, though,
Oh, you
and
can talk to
it's
somebody in
probably
person.
one of the best things about the game,
Ew.
hands down. If anything, it might introduce a new audience to some of the best
No.
music from that decade. You may
If it's
not
not
love
we,
it,
I
I'll
don't
say,
know.
because there are people who don't enjoy 80s music, but it does create a great atmosphere
I ain't hear
for the
none of this
game,
video.
which does take place in the 1980s. And number 8, there's you
I'll be trying to cough because every time I think I cough, I think of Marshall.
Yeah, me too.
Cause he bored. He not there. He gonna clear. He gonna cough this lump out.
Oh, they
The setting combined with the era that game takes place in really goes a long way in creating a unique atmosphere. And even though the game is a prequel to the events of GTA 3, you really don't need to play that game to know what's going on here. Other than a few references here and there, it's a completely separate story, so there's no real issue with starting here if that's what you want to do. This is the game where parody elements really started to show themselves in Grand Theft Auto. I mean, you can see them in 3, but not on the level of this. Like, you see 80s action movie parodies, billboards that make fun of, like, all of the politics and policy of the time. You got tons of businesses with joke names, clearly meant to sound dirty. The game has a real story, and
Wait, this is
it's
him
not
from
just
our
goofy
cousin?
nonsense, but there is a lot of humor.
They'll probably just text
And
like
number 9
Disney
is
shit up front.
the music. Now, one of the biggest things that makes Vice City stand
Not
out
really.
is its music.
No
This has
more.
pretty much been a tradition
It don't
since
taste
Vice
bad.
City. Not that
Yeah,
I
see,
dislike
that's not how
Grand
we
Theft
was
Auto
tasting it
3's
first. When I
soundtrack.
first
It's
got it.
unique and interesting
They
for
don't
some
taste like that 'cause
reasons.
they do
But
that.
here's where we got some
Oh,
of the
it's the
best
first
music
quarter.
from the 80s, like
Oh, 'cause that was
legitimately
that
one of
week
the
that
best
y'all
collections
made.
out there for people who love 80s
No.
music.
I don't
And
know.
as of right now, we
I don't
don't know for
Can't
sure
say yeah or
how
no.
complete the soundtrack's going to actually be. Rockstar has been known to cut songs from new releases and classic games because of music rights issues, but either way, the soundtrack should probably still remain excellent, even if it's missing a few songs. We just don't know yet. Keeping in mind that Grand Theft Auto has more cash on him now than ever, and this is a very hyped release. It may not go that way, but this stuff was nostalgic back when the game first came out, so it's basically ancient. It's a lot of awesome, memorable music, though, and it's probably one of the best things about the game, hands down. If anything, it might introduce a new audience to some of the best music from that decade. You may not love it, I'll say, because there are people who don't enjoy 80s music, but it does create a great
You should
atmosphere
really
for the
like play
game,
some
which
music.
does take place in the 1980s.
You play some music.
And number 8,
I got
there's
5
some
phones set
gameplay
up.
updates. From everything we've heard, it sounds like
Hey, if I
Vice
had
City
5
will
phones,
mostly
you
play the same as the original version. Most of the
Hey, if I
changes
had
seem to
5
be in
phones,
the graphics
I'd
and
be on the phone
controls
on
rather than
every
the missions or
phone.
gameplay.
Okay.
So how the game actually plays should remain the same. You can drive around.
I be on both my
you can
phones,
pick up missions,
but
steal
I can't
cars,
do
do
it
side
because they be
jobs.
trying
All
to
that stuff
call
looks
at the same
unchanged.
time. I be
So
like, hold
don't go
on.
into this
You
one
don't have to
thinking
hold on.
you built the game
And then they
from the ground
want to be
up.
like,
It's Vice
why you
City
got me
with
on
a new
mute?
coat of paint. Now, with the definitive edition, Vice
Take
City
me off
definitely
of
does
mute.
look better than ever. It's got all new
Yeah.
character models.
Crying.
Some
So,
that people are
I
making
stopped
fun
doing
of.
that.
Like
But
some
I
people
usually
think the
just
main
fall asleep
character
on
Tommy
phones
looks
with
bad.
both people.
There's also new vehicle models, totally new lighting system,
Because
dynamic
one gonna be
weather,
off on
better
me,
reflections,
and the other
longer
one
draw
gonna be on me.
distance.
So,
One of the big
we
things
gonna go
though,
see.
in terms of improving the environment, is
Now, both
adding
can be
higher
happy.
quality textures and foliage so that like green
Oh my
area looks
God.
more vibrant. There's a
I'm
lot of
gonna kick
improvements
your
to go
ass.
around, and the difference is pretty impressive.
You wouldn't
compared to
know.
the original game to the definitive edition. Now the controls, like I said,
You
are
wouldn't know.
receiving
Yeah, well,
some
because I would be mad
updates,
that
basically making it so
fuck?
the game functions a little more like
I'm about to
GTA
say, what the
5.
fuck is
Like
going
there's a
on here?
wheel for the weapons
Nah,
and
I'm
radio
tell you,
rather than being
Brian,
forced to cycle
bro,
through it
he
like in the
kinda
original.
know, but
The auto ending is
he
more
might,
responsive.
because I called him off
Use
this
some of
phone
the
one day.
Switch specific
He was like, nah, don't call me off your whole phone.
touch controls and aim using the gyroscope.
Don't call me on your
Although I
whole
don't see
phone.
myself
I'm
doing
like,
that.
what are you
So
talking about?
while there does appear to be a
What are
lot
you
of
talking
quality of
about?
life type updates, the
I am not
basics are
calling you
going
on
to
my
remain
whole phone.
unchanged, and
He's
that's
like,
great.
who on your other
And
phone?
number
I'm like,
7,
nobody.
the Vice City world
Whole time there was
breakdown
really
size
somebody on my
layout is as
phone.
such. It's relatively small if you're used to the world of Grand Theft Auto 5. But even though it's set on only 2 islands compared to Grand Theft Auto 3's 3 islands, it is bigger in general than the first of the 3D Grand Theft Autos, even when taking into account the amount of
Hey,
water.
it's in the
One of the
family.
things people really like about Vice City is how generally easy to get around it is. The whole city is basically a big loop, and there's a lot
You
of
really
distinct
kinda
landmarks and
are,
locations
kinda.
that make it fairly simple to navigate.
And your
Because of
mama.
the way the city's built, you won't be spending a lot of
Yeah.
time checking a map to figure out how to get somewhere. Just going in the general directions usually enough. There's a lot of memorable locations to
That
visit.
made me.
There's an oceanside beach, there's a stadium, the Malibu Boat, which you can actually go inside and see a lot of shows, an entire golf course, and a huge mall to check out. The whole place is
Not a
huge
camp.
step up from
'Cause-
GTA 3. There's so much
Aaliyah, your
variety in
girlfriend,
life and
right?
environments in this game.
Mhm.
Even though it's bigger
And
than the
sometimes you
previous
miss
games,
it,
it's
Lee.
obviously much smaller than GTA
I be
4 and
messing
5.
with it.
But in some ways,
Sometimes.
that actually makes it more
What are you
fun.
kicking it? That's my dog.
And number 6 is weapons.
That's my dog.
Going on a rampage
Yeah.
is a big part of the appeal of the GTA game. Just
Aaliyah
grabbing
just
some
don't like us
weapons
kicking
and
it.
doing as much damage as possible.
'Cause they
The
not
arsenal
dogs.
here is greatly expanded compared to 3.
Why not?
There's a ton of
Well,
melee
we
weapons
weird.
that are fun to play around with. Most fun is
It should be calling you
obviously
weird.
the chainsaw, which is the perfect weapon for going
I
nuts
just
with.
let it
There's
do it.
grenades, there's a remote grenade specifically, which
I
is
mean,
great for
shit, I
getting
know the
away
truth, so
from
shit,
blast
what the
range.
fuck?
That
I need
is
to see him try to
usual
make a point to you
selection
to prove that you
shotguns,
actually weird.
handguns, assault
So you can
rifles,
sit here and do some more weird
stuff like
shit to
the
try to
Samurai
prove that
ninja
you're not
Uzi
weird?
cars,
No, I'm
especially
cool.
in this game.
You just weird,
They're
bro.
much more
You weird, and I'm
maneuverable
cool.
with
I
them,
swear to
and
God.
in fact, they can be
You can
used
say
to
what
shoot
you want,
more
all
than
you
a
want.
motorcycle.
All she
That's
wanted to
also
do was
great.
call me
When
weird
you
and
really
say that I'm
want
doing
to
some
go on
weird
a
shit.
rampage, heavy weapons are the best.
No.
Flamethrowers,
No,
minigun, and
no,
rocket
no.
launchers.
She really
They're
toxic,
kind of
bro.
slow to use, but totally devastating.
Yeah.
She always be like, nah, me and Darren on good terms. She had me in there calling me Darren. I'm like, bro, I ain't never called this man Darren a day in his life. Like, in my life. I ain't never called him Darren. So I'm looking sitting here like, who is Darren? Like, why am I calling him Darren?
Instead of just driving around cars everywhere, you can now pilot
No.
helicopters, motorcycles,
She's
mopeds,
not
riding
fam.
speedboats. The
She
Grand
don't
Tour
know.
was particularly
Ooh,
impressive
that was
for the
close.
time.
Good pass.
Approximately 101 vehicles. That's a lot to work
Like,
with.
it just
And
felt
outside of
wrong
the
to me.
stuff, there's a few basically joke vehicles to try out as
Oh my
well.
God.
Like, you can actually drive around one of those little baggage handler cars at the airport. You can steal a golf cart.
So I used to have a call me
Course,
Dino.
they don't do anything, but the fact you can drive them at all is a lot of fun. The two
She
best
like that
vehicles are
sometimes.
Force Sleeve and the military ones.
She really called me
There's
that when
the
she
Rhino
mad at
Command,
me.
returning from GTA
That shit
3,
funny.
and the new Hunter attack chopper.
Ooh, stay
They
back.
blow anything away.
Chop
Like, they're
ass.
pretty tough to get normally, but
I
that's
had
why
mouth
Rockstar
taste.
made it so
Oh my
cheap
god,
to
we
use.
used to make ass.
And number
Did you
4,
see
your
that
goal
story?
in this game is to
Jeez.
take over the city. One of the biggest
Yeah.
new features added to Vice City is that you can buy up assets
Thanks,
around the
bitch.
city that have their own set of missions. If you complete them, they automatically generate money. The
I bet
feature
they mad as
doesn't
hell right
become
now.
available until fairly far into the
Yeah,
game,
the shit
but it's a
everything.
huge
Oh,
part of
there
the
we
game
go.
and adds a small layer of strategy and
Double
everything. It's up to you which
I'm
asset you
stomp
want to
on
buy
some
first.
more.
Each one creates a different amount of money too.
Hold
And they
me.
go around and manually collect your take. It can be a little annoying, but it is free money, and at least getting around the city is nice and easy.
Step up,
Without
step
spoilers,
up.
we will say that buying a property
Niggas
is one of
mad
the
in the
requirements you have to do to
Step
actually
up.
beat the game. You don't have to buy every place, but if you want to see the ending, then you need to buy up a good chunk of the
Okay,
places
okay.
around town. This whole feature was a really cool addition that made the game feel like you were in
He only
charge
got
of a
that point because I
criminal
wasn't paying
empire
attention.
instead of just a goon taking orders. You were the guy building an empire in this game, rather than being a foot soldier doing the grunt work. I mean, you're still doing all the work, but at least you're getting the reward this time. At number 3, there are a ton of side jobs and activities. When you're not doing main mission, there's a lot of other stuff to do in Vice City. A lot of the side jobs, like paramedic, vigilante, taxi driver, they return from GTA 3, and there's new ones like Pizza Boy, which give you new ways to make money. Another new feature is that you can rob certain stores. Like, you just go in, point your gun at them, and they'll give you some money. But do not try it at ammunition. They're a little more difficult to deal with. The stadium isn't just there for show either. You can actually participate in a few events inside. There's also street races, assassination missions, collectibles, rampages, and unique jumps as well. So there's a lot to do here. The amount of stuff that's in this game is a huge jump from GTA 3, and there's all around more things to do that are just At number 2, if you want to know what you have to do to get 100% completion, again, keeping it spoiler-free, it can take a while. How long to beat it generally says about 40 hours to do absolutely everything, depending on how focused you are. But to do it, you've got to complete every mission, which includes all the asset missions and side missions. There's a rifle range you have to earn 45 points in, there's 7 safe houses to buy, and you have to rob all 15 stores in Vice City. It's a lot of stuff all together, but in comparison to a lot of open world games these days that can take hundreds of hours to finish, getting everything in Vice City isn't really that bad. And finally, at number 1 is the housekeeping. The definitive edition of Vice City is coming out on pretty much every platform, digitally on November 11th on PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, Series X, Series S, and PC in the Rockstar Games launcher. Unlike GTA 3 and San Andreas, Vice City won't be coming free to any platform. San Andreas is going on Xbox Game Pass, and GTA 3 will be on PlayStation Now, but Vice City, you have to buy the Definitive Edition collection. Physical versions of the entire trilogy come out December 7th for Switch, PS4, and Xbox consoles, and it's also going to be releasing on iOS and Android sometime next year. Now for PC, the system requirements are pretty simple. Windows 10, 64 bits a minimum for and it requires 45 gigs of disk space for all 3 games. Recommended video cards are an NVIDIA GTX 970 or the Radeon RX 570. Neither is particularly cutting edge, but still pretty steep for what are now 20-year-old games. Even if these are basically the same old games, the graphics upgrades are
am I going for 60 points this game?
And that does show in their system requirements. So that's all for today. Leave us a comment, let us know what you think. Are you buying these games? Are you going to play the free ones? Let's talk in the comments. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see the first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable all notifications. And as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter, @FalconTheHero. We'll see you next time, right here on GameMix.
Oh, shit. Fucking them up.
He's just playing with the game. With the fucking ball.
They don't know what they're doing. They asked what they.
Instead,
I owe them
the
this
societal
one
norms
actually.
of 1980s.
They whooped my ass the last time. They whooped my ass. Beat the shit out of me. Yeah. Make that pass, man. Ooh, goddamn. Fuck. Good shit, me. No. Why you let Melo shoot?
Mitchell locked down.
Yeah. Let me get that boom, Melo. Ooh.
Okay.
Come here, DeAndre. What is you doing? Got my season average. I'm going for 60.
All y'all on fire.
Yeah. One more. Ooh, where you going, Melo?
Ooh. He mad as fuck.
Now LeBron really mad though. LeBron be hating when they be losing.
Where you could have recorded this and put it in your stream.
Yeah, this is one of the masterpieces. Ooh. Oh, I missed. Trying to do some wins. I was feeling it.
They only got 20.
I was trying to have 70 before they had 20. Ooh, this is good. Give me that ball back. Where are you going? Jesus Christ.
Okay. We should have stole it off of you.
Who did that? Buddy? Oh, that's wrong pass. You see that? I don't know why they leaving me open. All I'm gonna do is break my own record.
Let's have him call you back.
Let's go, Alex.
Hello? You say you about to go to sleep? I didn't want to hang up, but I'm hung up.
Hey guys, big news. Today I'm launching a brand new channel called A Hill to Die On. Stick around after this video to find out how you can be the first to seize in the country almost the ideal market for a thriving American company enters China with $1.4 billion signs in its eyes. It sees in the country almost the ideal market, a middle class well over twice as large as its own, and without the generational brand loyalties of America. Because China was relatively late in its technological development, it almost entirely skipped transitional in-between inventions like desktop computers and credit cards, making Chinese consumers generally less skeptical of new technologies like smartphones. Best of all this is available through one international expansion, one regulatory system, one language, and one culture. Or so companies think. What they find is often very different. Relaxed regulation turns out to mean the law is ambiguous and enforced selectively. Once a business model is proven, competition may spring out of nowhere, sometimes with no regard for intellectual property. And what looks like a single unified market from the outside becomes thousands of unique ones up close. It's happened in one form or another in Amazon, Google, Mattel, eBay, Home Depot, Groupon, and many others. Uber, however, was sure it was different. It wasn't the ignorance of the titans that had failed before it, but
you trying to steal it earlier.
Founder, Travis Kalanick, Uber had faced many impossible challenges from the very beginning, fighting hundreds of angry cities as the company rapidly expanded across the U.S. Its very business model was at best legally ambiguous, and yet it succeeded anyway, giving Kalanick a certain unchecked confidence which made China look like only another of its familiar hurdles. And to its credit, Uber did not make the classic mistake, directing the expansion from conference rooms in San Francisco. It tried very hard to build Uber China, not merely Uber in China. After boldly declaring it the company's #1 priority, Kalanick devoted himself to the expansion like nowhere else. He spent 70 days of 2015 in the country, nearly 1/5 of the entire year. He even joked that he should apply for Chinese citizenship. Uber created a separate Chinese company partnered with local investors like the
Chinese tech giant Baidu and launched in 2013 in the country's largest city, Shanghai. At first, things were rocky. For example, it launched with only US credit card support, making sure the vast majority of locals who use WeChat and Alipay were unable to book rides. Just as embarrassing, the app used Google Maps, which is notoriously bad in China. By far, Uber's biggest problem, however, was, well, its entire business model. The company doesn't own its cars or hire its employees, meaning its only value is connecting people who want to drive to nearby people who want to ride. But because drivers and riders are regional, entering a new city is like starting from scratch. Uber may have a monopoly in LA, but that doesn't mean anything when it expands to Seattle. The good thing is that once it has the critical number of both drivers and riders in a particular city, they're very likely to stick with Uber. It only takes 2.7 rides, according to the company, before someone becomes a permanent customer. Uber's strategy, therefore, was to grow at lightning speed. Every major city had its own general manager, who would tempt new drivers with bonuses and new customers with free rides. Becoming a driver was easy, no long background checks or complicated forms required. This worked pretty well, when it was first. The problem was that, in China, it wasn't. Its Chinese competitor, Didi, was founded in 2012 and had everything Uber needed: immense scale, a China-first design, and the support of government. While Uber operated by disrupting the taxi monopoly in each new city it entered, Didi was much more old-fashioned. It merely connected riders to existing licensed taxi drivers. So instead of inciting chaos and even violence like Uber, Didi was on the good side of authorities, even helping manage over 1,300 traffic lights in partnership with city governments. In 2015, Didi merged with its closest competitor, giving it near monopoly control of the market. It became the only company in the world backed by all three of China's tech giants: Baidu, Alibaba, and Tencent. Apple and China's sovereign wealth fund also invested around that time. Uber was behind from day one. If a Chinese user already had Didi, the only reason they'd switch is if it was that much cheaper. To catch up, Uber had to dump insane amounts of money, and that's exactly what it did. Uber spent a jaw-dropping 40 to 50 million US dollars per week on free rides and bonuses in China. It lost, in total, $1 billion every year. With Didi, it played a massive game of chicken. Spending this much money was unsustainable, but who would give up first? This metaphorical arms race also created a kind of Cold War dynamic. Didi allegedly sent undercover engineers to be hired by Uber, where they would collect trade secrets and even conduct sabotage. On occasion, Uber would be blocked from WeChat. In China, this was the equivalent of Google hiding a competitor from its search results, making it effectively invisible to the vast majority of the country. And besides burning through cash like it was fuel, this subsidy war also led to an unintended side effect: fraud. In one Chinese city, Uber reported having as many drivers as London, Paris, and San Francisco combined. But how many of them were real? When a new user was offered a free promotional Uber ride, the company still paid the driver as normal. This created a loophole. Two users, one acting as the driver and the other as the rider, could collude, taking a fake ride and splitting the profit. Soon, scammers created entire circuit boards with rows of SIM card slots, each simulating a fake phone. They would take a fake ride, swap out SIM cards, and repeat. In one Chinese city, fraud accounted for an estimated half of all rides. Over 30,000 fake rides were taken every day in the summer of 2015, just in China. Uber fought back by creating a database of IMEI numbers, which are unique to a given phone, and thus allowed the company to identify a scammer even after they had reset their phone. However, Apple hid this number from developers starting in 2012 for its users' privacy, preventing Uber from detecting fraud. Uber was undeterred and hired a third-party hacking company to bypass iOS's security rules, which Apple discovered, warning them to stop. In its typical fashion, Uber continued anyway, adding a line of code to check if the app was running in Cupertino, California, where Apple is headquartered, and if so, not break its rules. Apple still found out, and called a not going well for Uber. It faced massive fraud, trouble with Apple, and over $1 billion a year in losses. Then came the final nail in the coffin. For its first few years in China, Uber operated in a legal gray area. Like in the US, this subjected it to varying levels of retribution based on the mood of each municipal government. In the southern city of Guangzhou, police raided the Uber office at midnight, accusing it of running an illegal business. In Hangzhou, another police raid was followed by a violent confrontation between Uber and taxi drivers. All this changed in July 2016, after a series of high-profile crimes committed by Didi drivers. China legalized the industry, which came with strict new regulation, like there could be no subsidies and drivers required 3 years of experience. From now on, Uber would need to request formal approval from the local and national government before expanding to each new city. At the beginning of that year, Uber operated in 37 Chinese cities
and like zoom in on the people.
and had 229 daily active
Start
users,
talking about how they was
compared with
looking at us playing
908.
games.
Just a few short years after
That
it
sounds like
sprinted
some
into the
shit.
country with supreme confidence, it had all finally become too
Or he was
much.
zooming to
Just
our
days
players'
after the new
faces.
regulations were passed, Uber
Yeah,
China was
it's
sold
nasty.
to
I
Didi.
swear to God.
Uber took a 19% stake in Didi, and the leaders of both received positions on each other's board of directors. Whether this was an embarrassing failure or a diligent strategic decision is still open for debate. On one hand, Uber unequivocally did not achieve its original goals of conquering the Chinese market. It left with only a minuscule market share and incredible losses. It did not succeed where others had failed in China, and even though government protectionism may be somewhat to blame, Uber certainly made many unforced errors along the way. On the other hand, Uber spent $2 billion on China and left with assets valued at $7 billion. Viewed purely from the balance sheet, China was, unlike most of the company's markets, a source of pure profit. It could now invest that money in other, more winnable markets in Southeast Asia and elsewhere. So, a failure, yes, but also a
You
profitable
should
one.
have recorded this game,
It's
bro.
too late
Man, I
to
should
get in
have.
on
I'm
the ground
fucking
floor
sure
of
that this
Uber,
good.
but you can be one of the very first
I
subscribers
get
to my new
everything.
channel, A Hill to Die On. Go subscribe now to watch the first 2 videos as soon as they're released on October 27th at 11 a.m. Eastern.
Holy shit.
But you can also
Damn,
watch
not
them
my
right
sis.
this second on Nebula.
Fucking them up.
Nebula
This
is the
is
streaming site
crazy.
I built along with my fellow creators to give you the very best viewing experience. Think of it as the expansion pack for YouTube. You get videos ad-free, early use, bonus content, and entirely exclusive originals.
Stop
like the
playing,
show
give
Money
my
hosted by
sis.
Tom Scott. And
I
because
already
we
know how the
partnered with
game goes down.
CuriosityStream, you can
Every
also
time.
watch thousands of great documentaries on science,
I'm not gonna get
history,
that
and
assist,
nature,
nor am I gonna
together
get
for just
that
$15 a
shield.
year.
I'm
Use
getting
the
all
link
the
in the
fucking
description
bonus,
to
so
get
it's
both
crazy.
CuriosityStream and Nebula, watch my new channel today, and help support creators like myself do new and exciting things like
Damn, I might
launching
not
this
even
new
get
channel
60
for
fucking
one
around.
incredibly low annual price. Thanks to CuriosityStream and Nebula for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you over on the new channel.
Damn, they do not pass the ball to that nigga. He be open.
I'm Jeff Bezos. What is your claim to fame? I'm the founder of Amazon.com.
From the award-winning producers of The Facebook Dilemma. Frontline investigates Amazon.
Amazon taking over the world a good thing?
Questioning those who run the company.
What would you say to someone who feels as though humans are increasingly being treated like robots?
That's not the experience that I had setting it up.
And those no longer there.
Most people assume there is a pretty high safety standard on Amazon.
And that assumption being correct. The tools are not what I call battle tested.
And if Amazon is a monopoly,
The question for the democracy is, are we okay with one company essentially leading capitalism?
how did you and Jeff think about the call to break you guys up?
Simply because the company's been successful doesn't mean that somehow two people
Any wrong move there to take me out the game for the rest of the
was very
game.
much the idea.
I got 15 fucking boards. This is about to be the greatest game that I ever had. Not
Jeff
really.
Bezos is already conquered
It's gonna be up there. I
now
swear
he's got a
hell
plan to
before.
colonize the planet.
Laying out his plans for colonizing
Bezos is
space.
known for going big, and now he's literally shooting for the moon.
Is that my
In
block?
May of 2019, Jeff Bezos, the richest person on the planet,
Look at
unveiled his
my
latest
fucking
invention.
face.
This is Blue Moon. It's time to
Bro,
go
you
back to
should
the
just
moon, but
start
this time to
recording
stay.
the rest of it.
I can just play it
over and
back.
over again that the most important work he's doing is work in
If
space.
I hold down my
What he's
share
built
button,
with
I mean my
Amazon
share
is
button,
really important and really interesting.
and stream everything that I
And
have.
it's revolutionized commerce. But it's only revolutionized commerce.
Bezos' plan is to chart a new course for the future of humanity.
Why you
Manufactured,
out here more?
rotated, to create artificial gravity with
Oh.
centrifugal force. These are very large structures, miles on end.
Damn! Give me that ball.
Each.
That's my steal.
It's an idea
I need
he's
2
had
more
since he was a
steals.
teenager.
This is me in high school,
Oh, what?
and I want to
I
highlight this
shouldn't
quote.
have took that.
The Earth is
That was a bad
finite.
shot.
If the world economy and population is to keep expanding, space is the only way to go.
Ooh, yeah.
I still believe that.
Yeah.
The way Jeff Bezos sees it is that consumerism is an example of
bro, y'all
how today's
playing.
society lives better than our
Get
parents
on there,
did
get
and
on
our
there.
grandparents. And he
Uh-oh.
wants
That's
future generations to continue to have an increasingly better lifestyle.
Wait, boy, hold on.
These are beautiful. People are going to want to live here. Bezos unveiled his extraterrestrial plans at a time of growing concern about the empire he's built here on Earth.
Amazon is the great disruptor from books
I
to
just need
retail
to
to
shoot.
grocery stores.
For more than 25 years, Jeff Bezos has been disrupting and transforming almost
Man,
every
they're not
aspect
gonna
of
get
our
my
modern
6.
lives.
Let's go.
Once you start connecting the dots, you see that Amazon is building all
I
of the
need 1
invisible
point,
infrastructure
1
for our
assist.
futures.
Amazon
Let's do
announced
this.
a healthcare partnership.
I don't know how much to do this.
built its pure cloud. How much of the internet
What's
do you
the
run?
listen to?
It's a good question. It's a lot, though.
But in
Oh,
recent
this is
years,
a fucking
Amazon
game.
and Bezos have come under scrutiny for their aggressive tactics and expanding power.
What I tell you they was gonna do? Took me out the whole game. Oh my god. Now let me hit my 60. And that would have hit on the stream too. That I didn't get to hit my 60 points. Ah!
So think about it.
Just play it back.